Oh, so I guess Devin Haney had something to say when it came to Gary Russell and his loss. Quote, Mr. Cap, quote, lost to a bum, which is not the case. And Gary Russell definitely was no Mr. Cap. What was Cap was that BS offer, that was, quote, term sheets. There were actually actual contracts that were all the way effed up that were being given to that man. And Devin Haney and team basically causing this man to lose a $1.2 million fight that he had set with PBC that he put to the side because he was trying to make some things work with DAZN and Eddie Hearn and Devin Haney's team. So there's nothing cap about that guy. What was cap was that offer that was being made to him. But that put to the side, you got to be careful when you're making statements like the one Devin Haney did on social media. I remember when Deontay Wilder um, had complained after the second fight, I guess, with the about the different things that he believed had happened to him, and Teofimo Lopez, he came out screaming about that Deontay Wilder needed to not make any excuses. He needs to stop being a little B. You know what I mean? That's BIT. Whatever. Kept saying that about Deontay Wilder. And I put out a video at that time, and I was like, Tina, you go back into the archives. I'm sure you can find it. And I said Teofimo Lopez needs to be very careful with what he's saying. He's a young fighter, but he needs to understand that things are going to come up in his career. Things are going to come up in his career. You know, so you got to be very, very careful with the way you're speaking when it comes to this. And when that time comes, no one's going to try to hear anything from you because of your stance when it comes to this particular situation, you know. And, lo and behold, he fights against Cambosis. He takes a loss against Cambosis, and he's screaming about how he got played, how he was done dirty, how he got set up by Eddie Hearn. How did Eddie Hearn let them set him up like that? Oh, the judges done him wrong. He really won that fight. You heard all that stuff. The chickens came to roost, like I like to say. You know, everything came full circle when it came to him. Now you're talking about a Devin Haney where we really seen him get caught by a shot. You know, we seen him get caught by a shot. We saw what happened with that. You know, and ironically, also, I guess you could also say, in a way, even with the Gary Russell situation, talking about Gervonta Tank Davis in his last fight against Cruz and the issue that he had because he had a broken hand. And you're saying all these things. Oh, you seeing all the issues that Tank had with him. Imagine if he had to fight me. But then all of a sudden now you have a messed up shoulder. Now you're in the same type of position that he was in. And, you end up coming short, in your bout. What he did was still necessary to even, to pull out the victory in his fight. So when it comes to Devin Haney, we already seen you get clipped with a big shot once and you get all wobbled up. But you were able to, withstand that, because it was at the end of the round, which it happens. I mean, Floyd got buzzed a whole bunch of times. Not saying that it doesn't happen. All I'm saying is so you got to be careful with what you say, because you could end up all of a sudden. Imagine you're fighting Cambosis. I don't think that fight's going to happen, but imagine all of a sudden you're fighting Cambosis and your shoulder goes out, or your knee goes out, or something. You get some kind of major injury all of a sudden, and now you're facing this big, huge dude, with the injury, and you end up getting hurt real bad, stopped in the fight or lose the fight, and it's because, hey, you had this injury, then what? Or if you fight, even if you're fighting a lesser fighter, or if you move up to 140 pounds and you're fighting one of these guys, a lot of talented guys at 140 pounds, even a lot of guys that people don't even know about, and you get an injury and you end up losing to one of those guys at 140 pounds, you know, because of an injury, whether it be your back or something like that. Then what? So you got to be very careful when you make statements like that, because the same thing that happened to him could very, 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 very easily happen to you. So, as far as Gary Russell, I said it before, I hope he has a speedy recovery. Um, and we'll see where his career goes on from now. Because now he's beltless. Now he's gonna have to really figure out a plan. Really figure out a plan in order to get back to where he was before. But the whole sitting around the house, not doing anything, not promoting yourself, doing all that, it's just not gonna work. You're gonna have to put in that work, kind of like in the beginning of your career. Around the time when you're fighting like a Lomachenko, around that time, you're gonna have to start putting in that work, go back to being active, do these fights, you know, and get back into a position where you can become a mandatory to one of these fights. Whether it be the IBF, whether it be the WBO, you can push and try to become Santa Cruz's mandatory. A lot of different things that you can do. You're free to do a lot of things right now. So I believe that's what he should do. If he wants to go up to 130 pounds, go up to 130 pounds. Don't fight Colbert. Everybody's saying like, go fight. No, don't fight Colbert. Put yourself in the position to get that IBF belt at 130 pounds. Put yourself into a position to get that WBO belt if you can. Put yourself into a position to get that 130-pound belt. Put yourself into a position to do something like that. Get that belt, then come back and fight Colbert in unification. But the fact that he has that belt away from him, it actually frees him to do some things. But now he has to put in that work. But as far as Devin Haney and his comments, you got to be very, very, very careful making the type of comments that he made, because comments like that will end up coming back to bite you. We'll see what the future holds, though. They both got, Devin still has a very long career, and I still think Gary Russell has a good 5+ years left in him. He's healthy. Besides, obviously, the old shoulder injury, he hasn't taken a lot of damage at all. So, he takes care of his body, doesn't abuse his body in any way. So he has a good 5 strong years left there if he wants to do it. But we'll see what happens with both. But for now, like, subscribe, share. I'm out.